Two devastating defeats, two completely different responses. Same player, same circumstances, but wildly different levels of respect for her opponents. When Aryna Sabalenka lost to Iga Swiatek in Madrid 2024, she called it high-level tennis and said she was proud of her performance. When she lost to Coco Gauff at the French Open 2025, she called Gauff's shots magical and suggested the match was a joke. The pattern is undeniable, the contrast is shocking, and the implications raise uncomfortable questions about selective respect in professional tennis.
What we're seeing is a textbook case of differential treatment in competitive environments. When athletes consistently show respect to certain opponents while systematically diminishing others in similar circumstances, it reveals underlying biases that go beyond just competitive frustration. The language patterns are so different they suggest entirely different cognitive frameworks for processing these defeats.
I've been in professional tennis for 20 years, and I've never seen such stark differences in how a top player responds to similar defeats. Both were devastating losses in major finals, both came after leading or having opportunities to win. Yet one opponent gets praised as forcing her to be a better player, while another gets called lucky and magical. That's not about tennis, that's about something else entirely.
Today we're examining a pattern that thousands of viewers have noticed, how Sabalenka's post-defeat responses vary dramatically depending on who beat her. The evidence is in her own words, the timeline is undeniable, and the implications extend far beyond tennis courts. This is about selective respect, unconscious bias, and what happens when patterns become impossible to ignore. Let's start with Madrid, May 4, 2024. Aryna Sabalenka has just lost one of the most heartbreaking matches of her career. Leading Iga Swiatek 2-1, she holds 3 championship points. 3 opportunities to claim her third Madrid title. Instead, Swiatek saves all 3 and wins in a tiebreaker. Devastating defeat, massive opportunity lost.
This is a crucial baseline. 3 championship points slipping away represents one of the most psychologically difficult defeats possible in tennis. How an athlete responds to this level of disappointment reveals their true character and unconscious biases. Watch how she processes this loss.
Here's how Sabalenka responded to that devastating loss to Swiatek.
I'm happy with the level I played, with the effort I put into this match and into this week. I think I gave my all today, and I just can be proud of myself. I really want to see many more finals against her. Definitely was such high-level tennis. Even though I lost this one, I think this year it was much higher level than last year. That's a good thing.
That's the response of a champion. Despite losing 3 championship points, she immediately praised the quality of tennis, expressed desire for future battles, and found positive takeaways. No excuses, no diminishment of her opponent, just respect for high-level competition. That's how professionals should respond to defeat.
Now fast forward to June 7, 2025. French Open Final. Sabalenka loses to Coco Gauff in another devastating defeat. Similar circumstances, a major final, a crushing loss, massive disappointment. But watch how differently she responds.
She was hitting the ball from the frame. Somehow magically the ball lands in the court. It felt like a joke, honestly, like somebody from above was there laughing like, let's see if you can handle this. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes.
The language difference is striking. With Swiatek, defeat becomes high-level tennis that makes her proud. With Gauff, victory becomes magical and a joke. She removes Gauff's agency entirely, suggesting the win was lucky rather than earned. This isn't about the tennis, it's about how she perceives different opponents.
The contrast is so stark, so undeniable, that we have to ask the question thousands of you asked in our previous videos. What's really driving this selective treatment? Why do identical defeats produce such radically different responses? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is causing this pattern? Is there something deeper at play here? But perhaps most revealing was what Sabalenka said next. In the same press conference where she diminished Gauff's achievement, she brought up Swiatek unprompted.
If Iga had beaten me the other day, I think she would have gone out today and gotten the win. It just hurts. I've been playing really well, and then in the last match to go out there and perform like I did, that hurts.
This is the smoking gun. In the same breath that she's calling Gauff's shots magical, she's suggesting Swiatek would have won this match. She's literally using one player to diminish another, implying Gauff only won because she didn't face proper competition. The selective respect couldn't be more obvious.
When Gauff was asked about these comments, her response showed the class that was completely absent from Sabalenka's remarks.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I'm here sitting here as the champion. No shade to Iga or anything, but last time I played her I won in straight sets. I don't think that's a fair thing to say because anything can really happen. The way Aryna was playing the last few weeks, she was the favorite to win.
Notice how Gauff handles this. She states facts, her recent victory over Swiatek, her current champion status without attacking anyone personally. She even acknowledges Sabalenka's strong recent form. This is how you defend your achievement with dignity while maintaining respect for all competitors.
Let's examine the specific language patterns. When describing her loss to Swiatek, Sablenka used words like proud, high level, and good thing. When describing her loss to Gauff, she used magical, joke, and mistakes. The cognitive frameworks are completely different.
This demonstrates what psychologists call attribution bias. With Swiatek, she attributes the loss to legitimate competitive factors, high-level tennis, worthy opponent. With Gauff, she attributes it to external factors, luck, frame shots, magical circumstances. She literally cannot process being outplayed by certain opponents the same way she processes being outplayed by others.
Timeline makes this even more damning. These responses happened just over a year apart. If this was about personal growth or learning from defeats, we'd expect consistency. Instead, we see a clear pattern based on who defeated her.
What's particularly troubling is that Gauff's victory was arguably more legitimate than Swiatek's. Gauff came from behind, showed mental toughness, and adapted tactically during the match. Yet she gets called lucky while Swiatek gets praised for high-level tennis. The inconsistency reveals underlying biases that have nothing to do with the actual tennis played.
Social media response to our previous coverage of this pattern was telling. Thousands of viewers noticed the same inconsistencies and began asking uncomfortable questions about why certain champions receive respect while others get dismissed.
When patterns become this obvious, people start connecting dots. The viewing public isn't naive, they can see when respect is selectively applied. This creates broader questions about fairness, bias, and whether all champions are truly viewed as equals in professional tennis.
Let's examine another data point. When Sablenka praised Swiatek in Madrid, she specifically said she wanted many more finals against her. But has she ever expressed similar enthusiasm for facing Gauff again? The answer tells us everything.
That's the key difference. True competitors want to face opponents who beat them. It's how you improve and test yourself. When Sablenka says she wants more battles with Swiatek but dismisses Gauff as lucky, she's revealing who she considers legitimate competition and who she doesn't. That distinction is deeply problematic.
Contrast becomes even starker when you consider their head-to-head records. Sablenka has now lost to Gauff in 2 Grand Slam finals, the 2023 US Open and 2025 French Open. Yet she continues to frame these losses as circumstantial, rather than acknowledging superior competition.
When the same opponent beats you twice in Grand Slam finals, calling it luck becomes statistically absurd. Gauff has consistently risen to the biggest occasions against Sablenka, yet receives none of the respect that other opponents get automatically. This pattern suggests deeper issues with how certain achievements are perceived and valued.
What makes this particularly significant is Sablenka's position as world number 1. Her words carry weight, influence narratives, and shape public perception. When she selectively applies respect, it doesn't just affect the players involved, it affects how the tennis world views different champions.
Platform responsibility is real. When the world's top-ranked player consistently diminishes certain opponents while praising others in identical circumstances, it sends a message about who deserves respect and who doesn't. That's dangerous for the sport's integrity and equality.
Broader implications extend beyond tennis. In any competitive environment, selective respect based on personal biases rather than merit undermines the fundamental principle that achievement should be recognized regardless of who achieves it.
This case study reveals how unconscious biases manifest in high-pressure situations. When someone consistently treats similar situations differently based on the individuals involved, it exposes underlying prejudices that may not be consciously acknowledged but are clearly present in their responses.
Looking at the recent French Open defeat more closely, Sablenka's immediate pivot to praising Swiatek while diminishing Gauff reveals the automatic nature of these biases. She didn't plan this response, it came naturally, which makes it even more telling.
That's what makes this so concerning. These aren't calculated responses, they're instinctive reactions that reveal true feelings about different opponents. When respect becomes automatic for some and absent for others, it exposes biases that run deeper than competitive disappointment.
The consistency of the pattern is what makes it impossible to dismiss as coincidence. One instance could be explained away, but when the same differential treatment appears repeatedly in similar circumstances, it becomes evidence of systematic bias rather than random variation.
For young athletes watching these interactions, the message is troubling. They see that achievement may not guarantee respect, that identical accomplishments can be treated completely differently based on who achieves them. That's not the example we want to set in professional sports.
The tennis community needs to address this. When selective respect becomes normalized at the highest levels, it filters down throughout the sport. Champions should be celebrated equally regardless of who they are, where they come from, or what they look like. Achievement is achievement.
Dr. Mitchell, Marcus, thank you for helping us examine this troubling pattern. We've seen how identical circumstances can produce wildly different responses based on unconscious biases. Sablenka's tale of 2 defeats reveals that respect in professional sports isn't always based on merit. Sometimes it's based on perception, preference, and prejudice. This episode was brought to you by Unstruct AI. where we explore the human cost of bias in competitive environments. Today, we've examined how selective respect undermines the principle that all achievements should be valued equally. When Sabalenka called Swiatek's victory high-level tennis, but Gauff's victory magical, she wasn't just processing defeats differently, she was revealing unconscious biases about who deserves recognition and who doesn't. The pattern is undeniable. Identical circumstances, opposite responses, selective respect. In a sport built on merit. This differential treatment raises uncomfortable questions about equality, fairness, and whether all champions truly receive the recognition they've earned. Sometimes the most important conversations aren't about what's said explicitly, they're about what patterns reveal implicitly, when respect becomes selective. We all have a responsibility to ask why. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want journalism that covers the stories behind the stories. We're just getting started.